Where am I? I'm right here. Uh, yes, I said 11. It's 11:07. I needed to run upstairs and get some soda and some Oreos because I just finished dinner, and here I am. Oh, you have to go to bed. All right, I see how it is. At any rate, here we are for another night. Tonight we are going to do the 1983 version of Gottlieb's Royal Flush Deluxe. This was originally made in '76. They basically reused the playfield, the game design, as a solid-state game. It was one of the first solid-state games they made of the next generation of the older games. So we're going to play this tonight. This machine's in fabulous condition, and hopefully it continues to stay that way. Let me add a few more credits onto our credit count. Yes, I had to get Oreos. I needed dessert after dinner. So here we go. Just make sure this microphone's not in my way. And away we go. So, those of you who haven't played the game before, I have a good guess who it is. I have a very good guess who you are, 1605. Trust me. My guess is you live in the next town. So this is a very simple game. Purpose is to knock down all the drop targets. And as you knock down all the drop targets, the music will start getting faster. No, then I don't know who it is. I'll have to figure that out later. So the soundtrack on this is a little better than what we played last night. The one we played last night, the soundtrack's very boring. This is very carnival-like. But I don't find this game as fun as Rack 'em Up is. I think Rack 'em Up's a better game. For a pinball player. For a beginner, come on! Ah! That stunk. This machine is in pristine condition except one little thing that will probably happen tonight while we're playing. Occasionally, if you don't shoot the ball fast enough on the initial shot up the shooter lane, the ball will get stuck underneath a piece of plastic here that's got a little bit of a slope to it. Well, only two people refer to me as Sis, so both of them live up north. Both of them technically drive trucks, so you're not giving me much of a hint there. Well, I think I know who it is. Are you the poker-playing brother who hasn't showed up in I don't know how fucking long? Oh, I gotta watch my language, don't I? I do say I'm kid-friendly, even though we're on 11 o'clock at night. So, I mean, I say that this isn't as good of a machine as Rack 'em Up, but the truth of the matter is this is is still a really, really fun machine. Yeah, you better get your ass down. We're gonna start screaming poker soon, you know. I'm gonna talk about that. So, yeah, what we played last night, it's got more skill to it. This is easier to understand for beginners, and still a really good game. I mean, obviously Gottlieb sold quite a few of them back in the 70s, and that's why they remade it as a solid state game. So, 1605, you better be following me. I only need, I think I'm down to 4 followers to unlock an achievement. So, I wasn't sure if I was going to stream this tonight or if I was going to stream Rack 'em Up again. I had a lot of fun playing Rack 'em Up last night, so I was kind of torn to do another day of Rack 'em Up or this. But towards the end of the night, I had such a great conversation about these early 80 Gottliebs. I thought I'd switch it over to this one. I left the stream rig set up where it was and just repositioned a few things. And I just moved the pin in place and re-leveled the pin. And I cleaned the glass. There's actually glass on this. It's really clean glass. It's a pretty much brand new sheet. I'll land it. All right, night. I'll talk to you soon. The last few nights I've come on later than this. I've come on 12:30, and today I decided to probably start trying to go a little bit earlier. It's Megan's birthday today, so I figured I'd stream early and only for a couple hours, as opposed to what I've been doing. See, as we're playing here, we're hitting targets, we're dropping them down, and so the playfield starts lighting up what you have. So, stand, damn. And the pop bumpers reset every ball. So, to get a royal flush, I need to get the... And I'm hoping the camera can see the drop targets. It actually really can. It might be better if I pulled the camera back and pitched it a little bit. But I've got a 10, 2 jacks, 3 queens, 2 kings, and an ace. And it goes red, black, red, black, red, black all the way down the line. And so in order to get a royal flush, you need to get all the red cards down. 10, jack, queen, king, ace. And then there's points down here for a pair of jacks or a pair of kings and a pair of jacks, trip queens, full house, trip queens, pair of kings or a pair of jacks, and then the royal flush. So we got 3 joker spots up there that really don't do anything except have a bonus shot, which is that little captive cup there. Come on, bounce. There we go. And you can get those by either hitting the targets that are placed around the playfield. One of them's up there by the pop bumper. One of them's here. One of them's here, and one of them's here. Or, hey, music drummer, great, glad to have you back. And then you collect the points by hitting it in there. They don't help you get any of the combinations on the bonus board here. They're just there. And then the last ball, your third ball, lights your double when lit. So on ball 3, all the points are doubled. Now this is another, early 80s Gottlieb, so it's a low scoring game. It does have a 7 number display on it. like all the System 80s did. Now, I've got the cameras mounted in different places tonight, so hopefully I won't be bumping them while I'm playing anymore. Oh, man, that was loud. Oh, bounce, thank you. And again, I have the shoot again post in because that is the way the game shipped. I wouldn't have added one, but it was here, so it gets it. I definitely wouldn't take it out because then there'd be a hole in my playfield. Barely brushed that queen. That's all I need. And when I do hit this queen, should be right now, all those pops reset. Now I'm on the second one. And as you can see, everything on the left-hand side is blinking, and the right-hand side is not. And so, missed. Bounce. Thank you. Thought I was going to bounce again, guys. Thought I was going to bounce again. So, viewers, I'm trying to get 50 followers in the first 10 days. This has been, today I think it's day 7. And I think I'm 4 away. So if there's nobody out there who's not following, if there's anyone out there who's not following me, please do. I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to let that ball drain and send my dog back upstairs. I'll be right back. Indy, go. Up. Up. Come on, Boo. And I'm back. Sorry about that little delay, guys. My dog decided to get down the basement. So I am I think 4. The last time I checked, I'm 4 follows away. They don't cost anything. Hit that little heart right above the top of our screen here, and you'll follow me. It doesn't send you any annoying messages or anything. Just adds you to your little left sidebar on Twitch if you're watching it in your web browser. And it'll unlock my next achievement. And I'd really appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun streaming here and made a lot of new friends, so looking forward to continuing. Ugh, right down the gutter, guys, right down the gutter. It's a nice little community of people streaming on Twitch. Live pinball. A lot of people streaming video pinball, computer-based or app-based. The problem with the bounce again post is so Two Heart, which one is that? Is that this one, or is that the 76? You say you found it for me, so it's got to be the 76 version. I don't think I'm going to drive to Cleveland, Ohio anytime to pick up a pin. How much is it? I might change my mind. Bounce. Oh. So yeah, the post here, it's a double-edged sword for me, quite honestly, because I assume the ball's going to hit it and bounce back, and then I drain it. But if I move my flippers, and it does bounce, sometimes it goes in. So it's really a double-edged sword for me. So I have not been looking at the score. I'm going to have to keep a tally on the scores. Yeah, it's the EM Royal Flush. Damn. I'll buy one eventually. I want to put it right next to this one. They'll be beautiful together. Bounce. Thank you. So, as I was saying, I made this easier on myself, and I think this is what I'm going to continue to do. I think I'm going to set my home pinball rig up permanently in a spot, and just move the pins in and out underneath it. Drummer, I currently have 9 cabinets with 10 play fields. In the room that I'm in here, I have them sorted by data manufacturer because I'm a little anal that way. I have a 1972 Gottlieb Pro Football. I have a 74 Soccer, the 2-player one, not the 4-player one. The 4-player one was actually called Super Soccer. And then I have this machine here, a Royal Flush Deluxe, which is an 83. I have another 83 Rack 'em Up. And then I have a one was Funhouse made. It was Funhouse 90 or 91, I don't remember. Maybe an 89 even. Then I have an Addams Family, which was a 91. Some people say 92. And then I have a 2005 Stern Sopranos. Upstairs, I have a Pin 2000 cabinet, which has Revenge from Mars and Star Wars Episode 1 playfields. And then, damn it, I was looking over at the chat. I let it drain on me. And then I just picked up this week 72 Big Star. It's a Williams machine. It's an old EM, and it needs a lot of work. That one hasn't even come in yet because I don't have legs for it. It only came with 3 legs, and they were spray painted. So I gotta order a set of legs for that and a rubber kit. Get that working. I haven't even started that project yet. It's been too busy. I'm gonna try to stream tomorrow night. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to. I'm supposed to go to an auction tomorrow night. Don't know what time I'm gonna get home from that. And I'm gonna try to stream Saturday night as well. Oh, I shouldn't have let that one bounce. I'm meeting up with someone at 7 o'clock, but I should probably be home for 11, 12 to do a stream. So I'll probably stream Friday and Saturday if I can. Yeah, I do the restorations myself. Most people who own a pin machine need to know how to do the electronics on them or the solid straight. Oh, thank you for the raid. That's awesome. Thank you, Pinball. In the pinball community, once you own one, you really need to learn to restore and do the inner workings of them. I personally don't do like full restorations like some people do. I don't do the painting. I don't do all that cleanup and everything on them. But I do make sure that they're electronically perfect and they play perfect. So I don't repaint playfields, I don't repaint cabinet art, and I don't redo back glass. I'm not an artistic person, I'm an electronics person, so that's probably why. Any of the people who just joined, I've only been streaming pinball for a week. Today is, I started last Thursday night. Today is exactly 1 week. Well, a week plus a day, technically, right? And I'm having a lot of fun. I'm trying to get to 50 followers. I think I'm at 46 at the moment. So if anybody out there who's watching wants to follow, it's Pinball Princess Jillian. And I stream pretty much every night for the last week I have at least. I usually start between 11 and 12, sometimes as late as 12:30. And then I usually try to get off at sometime between 2:30 and 4 a.m. Last night it was 4:30. And that's because I'm currently out of work, so I have some time, and I like the social interaction. So you guys, if you want to chime in and chat, you have anything interesting you want to talk about, questions, go right ahead. Don't be surprised if while I'm trying to read the chat monitor, which is to my left, if I drain a ball, so feel free to make fun of me for not being able to multitask, but I'm doing my best here. I'm not a tournament player by any means. I'm very much a casual player. I have a bunch of pins here at the house and been collecting for about 3 years, and this year I'll be volunteering to do the video and photography stuff at a local pinball convention called Pintastic. If you're in New England, it's in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, June, last week in June, 26, 7, 8, 9, I think. Well, thank you for the welcome to streaming, and thanks for dropping some guests in here with us. What got me into streaming and why pinball? Well, I actually worked in video games for many years, so I actually had a stream account. I worked for Warner Brother Games, worked on the back end of video games, and when they were developing a game out of the studio I was working out of, they were really into streaming, so I kind of got into streaming then, and my first profession before I became a computer programmer was actually video. I taught video for the Department of Defense for 2 years, and so I've always had an interest in that. And I saw that there's not a lot of people streaming live pinball. There's really a half dozen people that do it on a regular basis and a bunch of people that do it casually. And I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to hop in at night, because I'm a night owl. I don't sleep much. And meet new people like yourselves and chat and talk about the sport and the hobby and just kind of get to know people. And it's been great. It's been really good the last week. So, and thank you for the follow, Beer Gut. Really appreciate that. So yeah. I'm having a good time with it. I did already have some of the streaming cameras and things, so the overhead camera is a GoPro 5 that I had. The face camera and the back glass camera I bought recently. I read everybody else's pinball blogs and things about streaming. Everybody suggested the 922, which is a Logitech kind of webcam. I wanted a 1080 webcam anyways, so it was a good excuse to buy that. So I bought 2 of them, and I already had an audio mixer for. I'm a knob person. Working from home a while back, I really liked the ability to have a knob to turn down my microphone to make sure I didn't do something stupid when I was talking to people on conference calls, so that I knew my microphone was off. So I already had the big boom microphone and an audio mixer that was USB to the computer, so kind of had half the streaming gear already. The rest of it was really just kind of buying some brackets and things to get it hooked up so that I could stream pin. And there's really, if you look, there's nobody else on right now really streaming late night pin, so I figured this was a good time slot. I'm up anyways, and give me something to do. There will be a couple days next week that I won't be able to stream because I've got earlier morning phone interviews, so I'm not going to stay up as late. That being said, I might come on for an hour anyways. And I was thinking today that I need to rearrange this basement a little bit. So, God, the last 2 games have been horrible. The more people I get on, the worse I play. I'm going to figure out a spot in my basement room here where I can keep the streaming gear and just move the pins. I think it'll be easier. But yeah, I had streamed video games on Twitch years ago under a different account, and that was fun. It's a little different because people playing video games, they know if they've played the game before, or if they're paying attention, they know what's going to happen in the game. And pinball's different every time. I mean, this ball is the major variable in this. So, and it's amazing how time flies when you're playing pin. I just glanced over. I've been streaming for 27 minutes already. Doesn't feel it. So for the first few streams, I streamed Addams Family. I figured that was a real identifiable game. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it. Yesterday I did, and that gave me a chance to also kind of perfect setting up the rig and figuring out how I was going to how I was going to do it. I'm half tempted to set up one more camera here for you guys because I don't think you guys can see the drop targets. Like right now, I'm one away from a royal flush here. Just missed that shot though. I mean, I know. Oh, come on, stay in. Thank you. I know you guys can tell from the music that it's the music gets faster. You can tell that it's So these 83 Gottliebs really were, and all the early Gottliebs, they really were coin takers. I mean, these things, pinball this was made to make some operator money. This does have a new, a completely rebuilt driver board in it, and a new system board, and a new power supply. I put in a new Rotten Dog power supply. Make sure the power was good and clean. These early System 80 machines had ground problems. Voltage could easily spike up, and so a lot of people run ground wires everywhere. I talked about this last night. For those of you who weren't here, there's two different school of thoughts on this. One of them was that Gottlieb sent out a white paper basically saying if you add one wire into your harness clip between your system board and your driver board, it would take care of all your problems. Other people don't trust that. They run ground wires between everything. I'm somewhere in the middle. Damn, that was stuck. The grounding is a problem. You should do something about it, and I think you should do both. I don't think the soundboard is a problem. There's never, to the best of my knowledge, never been a reported problem of the soundboard shorting anything out. So you don't have to do that one. But the definitely between the power supply, the driver board, and the system board, you want to make sure there's a good ground there. And so I would suggest adding that wire into the clip, as well as adding in some grounding wires between key points behind the back glass, between those three components. And so if you run wires between the driver board, the system board, and the power supply, so that you're referencing a good ground off your power supply, life is good. If you reheat your original power supply that came with this and make sure you have good connections, those power supplies will last forever. You don't need to upgrade to the Rotten Dog. I did because I was ordering system boards from Rotten Dog anyways. And so to me it just kind of made sense that I upgrade that at the same time, because in my book, well, this is a stupid thing, but I'm going to tell you this. If I'm ordering something from someplace and they've got me paying $20 for shipping for one item, for me, I think if I order 4 items, the shipping's $5 per item. So I order multiples when stuff like that happens. So I ordered 2 system boards and 2 power supplies, one for each of my systems, even though I actually didn't need them. And the power supply board on these you can rebuild them really easily. Few capacitors, and if you reflow good solder everywhere, they last a while. But I think what enticed me to the Rotten Dog is there was a good lug there, very easily, to get a good ground for everything, so that I'd be double protected. Alright. No! Oh, good. Keep it in there. Come on. Alright. I lost my face camera with that one. One second, everybody. Let me Let's see where that puts us. Where are you seeing a cable come from? Is that this one? That's that one. Okay. Let's move over to the center even more then. Let's try that. And let me give it a little more headroom. Guess I got a little too aggressive on that one and that camera popped off. Yeah, nice window. Well, I have a tripod that was supposed to be here Wednesday from Amazon that was supposed to mount all these damn cameras to, so I wouldn't have to worry about this, but it just like shipped on Tuesday, and the tracking number doesn't have any tracking on it yet, which means they really haven't even shipped it yet. Shots to make here to get another royal flush. One's the queen that I just keep missing, and the other one's the ace, which I just dropped. So we'll, I could have knocked that one. I could have knocked that one. Do 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 do. Yes, this does have a tilt sensor in it, so if I do really get aggressive on it, it will it'll lock the flippers and shut down the play field and make it all black on us. I don't know where the tilt bob is set to currently. I mean, you get a fair amount of bumping forward backwards on a pin of this generation, especially. It's the bumping left to right that you really don't have much on. And so I'm trying to be better at left and right bumping. But if I was bumping as much as I am right now on Adam's Family, it would be warning me left and right. This machine's a little more forgiving. That being said, I don't know what the tilt bob's actually set at. But it's in there. Yeah, every game has exactly what MM said. Every game has it, unless someone takes it out. And a lot of games, you can't just manually disable it the way you used to be able to. You used to be able to just unplug the damn thing, but a lot of the newer machines, if you do that, it complains because the system software is programmed to detect that. Bounce. Thank you. There we go. Alright, so we have one royal flush on this one already. Now we're trying to go for the second. We've got all of the wild cards on this game. We're on ball one. That's pretty good. So if I hit this here, we'll get 30 and it'll 30,000 points, and it'll start knocking at us, making a lot of noise. So we'll try to get that shot in a second if we can. Bounce. Thank you. And again, I wouldn't put a bounce post in any of my pins unless it originally came with it, and this one did. I keep just missing that queen. There we go. Lost the ball, but that was 2 royal flushes on 1 ball. That's a good game. So 962 million at the moment, and we're lining up for ball 2. Now everything resets. Yeah, tighten it up. Yeah, I just the only reason I know that is because I had a I think it was a 1986 Gottlieb a Monte Carlo, and that it had all sorts of problems, and the tilt bob was malfunctioning, frankly, because it had a lot of corrosion in the connection. And the system wouldn't start because of that, and because I unplugged it to try to troubleshoot other things. I was trying to fix other things with that machine because someone had done some really hacky wiring in it, and I was trying to clean that up. And I was trying to eliminate things, because that's what you do when you're troubleshooting, but I couldn't eliminate that. I had to fix that before I could go on. I have to say, oh, come on, bounce, thank you. Of the pinball machines that I've cracked open and done work on, Gottlieb's Rack 'em Up, Gottlieb's Monte Carlo is probably the heaviest playfield I have ever lifted. Because this game's in 1983. Gottlieb's Monte Carlo is one of the heaviest games I have ever lifted the playfield on, and the reason for that was because they ran out of logic circuits on the system board, because it was a System 80B board, that they just started going back to old school methodologies of electromechanical games, where they just had rows and rows of coils acting as switches. And as a result, it's just the playfield was so heavy. It had a wheel in the middle. It had these big ramps. It was just a very heavy playfield. I'm located in New England, so I'm in southern New Hampshire, just over the Massachusetts state line. Next pinball convention I'm going to is Pintastic New England, which is the end of June. I think it's the 26th, I think it's the 26th through 30th, if I remember correctly. It's a good little show. It's out in the western part of Massachusetts. You can go to their website, pintasticnewengland.com, and it's not a very expensive one, but it's a really well-run show. I'm actually going to help out this year with some of the video stuff using some of my gear. So 1.5 million on that score. Thank you for posting that. I'm going to have some of my games there this year. I don't think this is going to be one of them. I'm not sure if this is a home use only game or not, but looking at the play field and everything on it, it's really nice and clean. And I kind of want to bring it because I think it could win Best in Show for its category. Uppy Duck, you can add yourself as a mod. You know my passwords. I don't know if Alien Star is an 80B. Megan, can you look that up real quick for us? You don't think home use only? You know something? You'd be surprised. I think if you looked at this machine, I think you'd look at it and go, "Oh my God!" You're right. It may not be a home use only, but it is entirely too clean to have been on a location that anybody played it heavily. The back glass is in great condition, and the play field is amazing and immaculate. It does have a little wear around the around some of the inserts, but that's normal with any game. But the plastics, everything is too perfect on this machine, and I can tell it hasn't been retouched up. So, yeah, Alien. I think it's Alien Star. It's a System 80A. So there's very little difference between an 80A and an 80B. Very, very little difference. I'm almost positive the driver boards are the same and the system board's the same. And I'd be willing to bet. We can check in a minute, actually. Let me see something. reach it. So Alien Star will run off the Rotten Dog board that I have in here. So Rotten Dog has made a new system board that is compatible with basically all of the System 80, AB, and some of the others. And if you do have one of those and you have a problem with it, I can't say enough good things about the Rotten Dog power supplies and their system boards. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Pinball, but it wouldn't surprise me considering the person I got this from, I guess is what I could say. So what tart? Do you have an Alien Star? Is that why you were asking? And I'm going to say this again and again during tonight's stream. I am trying to get to 50 followers. Trying to do that my first 10 days. That's the goal I set myself. Twitch has a bunch of little achievements that you can do, and that's one of them. And I really want to get that. So if anybody out there likes what they're seeing and is not a follower, hit that little heart up at the top of the screen. It doesn't cost anything. All it's going to do is put me on your sidebar as something that you watch. And I'm here most nights, and late night our time. It's I'm on the East Coast, so it's 10 minutes of midnight. But I'll be here for the next couple hours playing because there's other achievements that I want to get, like streaming for 100 hours and all sorts of stuff. There is an achievement that I've been talking about as well. Yeah. The game I played last night was definitely not home use only. That machine was beat to hell. Fun game, but beat to hell. Yeah, so many of these from this generation were rode hard and put away wet, and I kind of agree with MN Pinball there that there weren't a lot of home collectors. There were people who had them, but they were few and far between. And most of the ones that were in homes were ones that came out of circulation, that somebody knew somebody and they bought it for their kids or grandkids to play in the basement. And odds are when you even find those, they're in horrible shape and not working because the people didn't know what to do with them when they broke, and it wasn't like you had all the resources we have now. I mean, if you have a pin, odds are, I can't believe I just did that. Odds are you can go down to YouTube there and go poke around and someone's got a video on it, and you can figure out from Wikipedia which generation of hardware it is, and then find a YouTube video that gives you everything you need. And you don't own one yet, you've played one once at a show. You never much gravitated towards Gottlieb's. No hate at all. Yeah, so, here's the thing with Gottlieb's. They were so far behind the times when it came to solid state. I mean, they owned the EM market, in the early 70s, even into the mid 70s. They were producing more machines than anybody. But they stayed in the EM market while everybody else went solid state. And, everybody else went solid state in 77, roughly, give or take on some people. And they didn't really go solid state until System 1, which correct me if I'm wrong, the first System 1 game didn't come out to the end of 78, if I remember correctly, or even 79. I'd have to look that up because I don't remember off the top of my head. And the System 1 electronics depended on that Rockwell chip, which a lot of the System 1 boards now, they need work. They got problems. The System 80 hardware, when they went into System 80, I pitched and leveled this machine before we started, so I know it's my playing and not the machine. I can't blame it on the machine tonight. But when they went into System 80, to try to make a splash, they did a lot of licensed games. I almost bought one last year. We almost bought a Incredible Spider-Man last year, and part of it was because I know the System 80 hardware so well now, and things like driver boards and system boards don't scare me. And if you do take a logic probe and do a stupid thing that I've done once before, all right, maybe twice before, and blow up a chip on the logic board or the system board, I know I can get replacements for it. Yeah, I was testing the Monte Carlo board. There were all sorts of problems with that machine, and I was testing the system chip with a logic tester, and I slipped, and I grounded out the system board, and that was the end of it. It never worked after that. I had to go to Fred Swimmer and have him make me a new board. So, lesson for everybody: if you're doing things with a logic tester, be careful. Those pins on those chips are right next to each other, and if you slip, it's all over. That being said, I sold that machine to a friend of mine, and it is rock solid with Swimmer's hardware in it. Swimmer has remanufactured those boards not to the old standard, but to his new standard, and he is making them rock solid and fantastic. I see that we have some new viewers that came in. Welcome. I go by Pinball Princess Jillian. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we're playing a 1983 Gottlieb Royal Flush Deluxe. They made this game also in 1976. So the special thing about this game to us is this was... oh, come on, Bounce. Thank you. This was the first pinball that my wife and I put in the house. And my wife's birthday is today. Well, actually, it was yesterday. Oh, it's still today on our time code. For another 3 minutes, it's still today. So happy birthday to Upbeat Duck, my wife Megan. She was born in 1983. And the other machine, the electromechanical version of this, is on 1976, which was the year that I was born. So, I'm going to eventually get a 1976 version as well for the house. I also love poker, so it was really a great first game for us. And I wish I could say that we had it alone in the house for years before we bought our second pin. But not true. We bought our second pin days after we bought this one. But It's a fun machine. I think the reason why we'll probably never get rid of it, not just because it was our first one and it is in such great condition, it's also because it's an easy game for people to understand. You're shooting at a series of drop targets. You get 9 drop targets in a single bank right in front of you, and it's easy to understand and easy to play. Shots are a little complicated at time, and it outlanes on you all the time because, unlike the newer machines, you've only got the... most newer machines are 5 lanes at the bottom of the playfield, and this is only 4, which means those lanes are a little wider. Bounce. Didn't bounce on. So, for those of you just joining us, I've only been streaming for a week now. And I'm having a good time with it. I'm going to continue doing it. I'm pretty much streaming every night, starting sometime between 11 and 12, and usually staying on until about 3. You know, if you like pinball, I'm doing live pinball, and I'm going to probably do some live poker at some point as well. If you're not following me, please do. I want to unlock the achievement of 50 followers in 10 days. So if you can hit that little heart, doesn't cost you anything. I'm not asking you to donate money. You know, just want to have. I want to get that achievement, and it's been a lot of fun. All the pinball streamers have been really nice, and real supportive. Because the pinball community is a tight-knit group as well. It's kind of interesting. I was saying to someone the other day, because I enjoy poker as well, and I've played video games and worked in video games for a while. There are about 22,000 people following pinball on Twitch. There's 1.2 million people following poker on Twitch. There's 22 million people following Grand Theft Auto on Twitch. Now, Grand Theft Auto came out in 2014 or 15, I think. So, Grand Theft Auto 5, that is. So it really does tell you that the pinball community is very, very small. But it's great that we're here. And I think streaming here on Twitch is better than streaming on Facebook. Not Facebook, YouTube. I really can't go on YouTube and find the live streaming of a game or anything as easy as I can on Twitch. Bounce, thank you. Come back. Alright, we got one more card to drop here. It's the king, the Black King. We've already got a royal flush on this one. Once we do that, it resets and we go over to the second column. On ball 2. So I don't think we're going to beat our 1 point. Is it 1.5 or 1.6? Just keep the score. It wasn't the top score in the game. The top score in the game is like the default 4 million because I end up resetting it. Bounce. Go. And as I've said before, those of you guys have been since the beginning of the stream, the bounce post is in this because it came in it. That's original with the game. That's the way it's shipped. A lot of vendors took them out. So we got the royal flush. Now we're back to the start again, and we have to knock all the targets down again. I don't restore things to be pretty and new. I don't replay repaint playfields. I don't repaint cabinets or back glass. I'm all about making sure that they work pristinely and they're in great condition to play, and that's my thing. I only have really one machine in the house that the playfield is trashed, and that's the 1972 Pro Football. That playfield is, oh my god, chipping lead paint everywhere, I swear. Yeah, our pug dropped by the stream earlier. Yeah, Papa's the only. Come to think of it, Beer Gut, I think I've only seen. I think I've only seen Papa on YouTube, and I think maybe Pinsburg. I think it might have been Pinsburg, but I don't remember. That might have been Facebook Live. But I think Pittsburgh did a stream last year at the tournament. Someone answer me. Does Pittsburgh have the really large women's league, or is that Papa? Because whoever it was had the really large women's league, and I was really jealous about that because the Boston area is finally just now getting a women's league together, which I think is great. Not that we can't compete with the men in the men's leagues by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there's some really talented women's league pinball players out there that, you know, we wouldn't get discriminated against in a men's league at all. But I think, you know, the community being built in a women's league, I think, will attract more women, and I think that's a good thing. I think we need to try to be a little more inclusive and things like that. And I don't think there's a single person in any tournament or competition that would object or say anything negative about women being in it. But I think some women may be intimidated by how good the men are and need to be tutored and mentored differently than that. And I think that's a positive thing. So I am, and I think my wife is as well, I think we might play in one of the Boston women's leagues, just to add some numbers there. I've never done a tournament before. We have pins at home because we love them. Myself more than my wife. I'm the one who kind of got us into this. She has her pinball machine in the house that she won't let me do anything to. Well, she'll let me maintain it and fix it for her, but she won't let me put mods on it, which is really hard for me, guys. I'm telling you, there's 2 games in the world that I feel need mods, and I have both of them. Well, actually, there's more than 2 games in the world that I think need mods, but I have an Addams Family, and I feel that Addams Family needs mods. There's certain things that game just needs, and it needs more lights in certain spots, and I've done a lot of mods on Addams Family. The other one is Funhouse has a lot of fun mods, and that's my wife's machine, and she won't let me do anything to it that isn't what it's shipped with. Yes. And here's my lovely wife. Everybody, happy birthday to Megan. She is bringing me my hydration because it reminded me. That's probably about 4 ounces.
Oh, there's a Women's International.
Yeah, there is. Nice. Yeah, Pittsburgh hosts it. So yeah, it was Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was streaming live either on Facebook or on YouTube this past year. Last year, that is. And I thought that was great. Yeah, so we have a Bells League that just started here in the Boston area this past year. Do you want to play?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to finish up some YouTube stuff.
Okay. Thank you for the water.
You're welcome.
And I think that's a great way for people to get involved and not be intimidated, because I can see how, you know, it is a male-dominated sport and hobby, and having a forum for women to get into it and feel good that they're not going to come in last place and understand the rules in a less intimidating way. I mean, I haven't done it just because, frankly, I don't have a machine in the house newer than 2005. I have one Stern machine in my house. It is a Sopranos. The next machine newer than that is a Pen 2000 machine. I have both playfields for that, Star Wars Episode 1 and Revenge from Mars. Both fantastic games. I'll stream those soon. You know, and most of the games, at least around here, you get some early electromechanical games in there in the tournaments, but you get a lot of Stern machines, and newer Stern machines. AC/DC, Metallica, Aerosmith, things like that. And I don't really have access to those games. There are places around here that have them, but it's just I don't know the rules and the logic as well, and I don't have the practice on them. So I think as time goes by, I'll start, getting going out and playing those games more once I start feeling more comfortable. And I think I'm actually at that point where I'm feeling more comfortable because I'm letting you guys who play pinball probably much better than I am watch me play online. And so yeah, this has always just been a fun hobby, and I think I'll do some tournaments. I'm going to do the Bells tournament at Pinfest this year, or Pintastic this year, and see if I don't embarrass myself. I may continue. I was just thrilled that out of the 4 days that I played Addams Family, that I actually hit the wizard mode, because it's not a hard feat to do on Addams Family, but it's not necessarily an easy feat either. So we are on ball 3. Points are all doubled on ball 3. And I am 2 targets away from dropping. I've already got the royal flush in here. I just need it hit it, but it didn't drop it. I gotta get a queen and a jack. I just went right between them. Tried to backhand the jack, couldn't get it. Alright, there's the queen. I should be able to hit. There's the jack. Now we got another reset. So, I don't actually know what happens now. I think we just keep hitting stuff. And this was the problem with these 80s games. Wizard modes didn't really exist, and if they did, they were anticlimactic. Like right now, everything's blinking all over the place. And all I'm doing is racking up points. It's not really making me do anything interesting here. And because I did so horrible in the first 2 balls, I don't think it's going to be our high score of the night. We'll see in a second. Yeah, that's it. 1.7. Okay, so 1.7 is the new score to beat tonight. And definitely, what I'm going to say is, you're saying in St. Louis they're gonna start a Bells League. I think they're great. I think they're positive, and I think it's going to bring a new breed of player into tournaments all over. I don't think that the women are going to stay in their tournaments. I think they're going to be, co-ed, regular, just tournaments like they are now. But I think we'll get more women in them, and I think we'll start seeing some really interesting play styles. Because I know we definitely think a little differently sometimes. But I think with the tournament thing that's intimidating to me is the rule sets on these newer Stern games are so dynamic. They're so different. And I think I don't get to choose which game I'm playing. Someone else is doing that. I mean, it all depends on what machines showed up and what's available and what order you get picked in, right? So as a result, that's a little intimidating to me because I could get on a game that I've never played before, not know the rules, and play it completely wrong. And that's really easy to do in pinball. We all know that. It's very, very easy to, on these newer machines, come on, stay in there, thank you. These newer machines to, you should start this mode and then start your multi-ball. You should do this and then do this. If you don't know that, you're leaving a lot of points on the board. And Addams Family is one of my favorite games. So is Revenge from Mars. I like both of them quite You'll never see Adam's Family in a tournament. In fact, you'll see very few games I have down here in a tournament. One game that I see in tournaments a lot is an old EM, Doodlebug, and there's a pinball club local to me that has a Doodlebug in it right now, and that is a fantastic game. It really is. I don't know if anybody in chat's had a chance to play Doodlebug, but that's one of those games that's just fun. It's really cute. I see you started with no offense. Nothing really offends me too much, so hang on, I'll read the whole thing in a second. In the middle of a ball. Oh, let's read. Yeah, and I'm starting to feel that way too. And that's why I think I'm going to do my first tournament this year. Because I do think my mindset's a little faulty that I was going to go and embarrass myself. And I think doing this stream has kind of changed my mind a bit, because I don't, even when I'm draining and doing stupid things here and not doing as well as I think I should, I'm still having a good game. I'm still having fun, and I'm still playing pinball. You know, I don't think anybody wants to finish in last place, but someone has to finish in last place, and I don't think I'll be too embarrassed if it's me on my first tournament. So, yeah, I mean, you're not going to offend me one bit. And my mindset changes a lot, so, and I think that's where I'm at now. I think that's why I'm trying to do it. Yeah, pinball people are amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, Tari. You can really psych yourself up. And I think this is one of those things that I just have to do my first one, and then I think I'll feel better about it, because I don't know, I guess I think that tournaments are for the elite of the elite player, and I've never been that, and I think I'm not as bad as I think I am. And I think I've grown to appreciate this, because, you know, for a while I was thinking, is this a hobby or is it a sport? I don't play in tournaments, so it's not a sport to me. It's a hobby, and some people take it really seriously as a sport. And I think you can be in tournaments and competitions with people and not take it as seriously as I think some people do. You don't have to be that person. And this is the problem with playing pinball online. At least in a video game, I can stick myself in a corner for a second and pause. I keep trying to read the monitor to make sure I'm not missing anything. And I think watching some other streamers who are more tournament players has actually made me feel better as well, because we all have really good and really bad balls, bad games. You know, I'm coming up with my own little lingos of things that, like, you know, of when I drain balls and things. I see that we got some new viewers on. Welcome. I've only been streaming pinball for since last Thursday, so hope you enjoy what you came on and are seeing. I tend to be streaming later. I'm on the East Coast, so I start streaming at around 11 East Coast time, and I've been finishing. Last night I finished 4:45, which is not going to happen tonight. I'm going to go to bed earlier than that. Going to an auction tomorrow night, but I should probably be back home by 11, and I'll probably stream after we get back from the auction. And I will probably be on Saturday night and Sunday night as well, even though I'm meeting up with some people at a pub on Saturday. I'm sure I'll be home by too late. I'm getting old. I don't stay out that late anymore, kids. I'm trying to get 50 followers, so there's a couple Steam achievements I'm trying to unlock, build a community, and one other. And so I've been making sure I stream regularly for that, and I'm trying to get as many followers as I can. I want to get 50 in my first 10 days of streaming, so I've got 3 more days to get the last, I think, 4 followers. I haven't checked how close I am now, but if any of you guys are watching, hit that favorite button up top there and follow me. Not asking you to subscribe or pay any money or anything, just follow me so that I can unlock a couple Twitch achievements. As a person who worked in video games for years, and I'm all about the unlocking achievement thing. I don't know why. It's kind of funny, but I am. So if you like what you're seeing and you want to see some more, please do that. I'd appreciate it. Because I think I'm 3 or 4 away. I can actually check real quick because we just drained a ball. I got 47 followers out of 50. I need 3 more followers. 3 more. Hopefully we can do that tonight. Oh, sure, I can talk about the streaming rig. It's going to change quite a bit, but I can definitely talk about what I've got. Hey, Pez, thanks for joining again. It's good to see you tonight. So I did have cameras here around the house, so some of the gear I already had was mostly audio gear for audio teleconferencing and video teleconferencing on my computer for work. So I already had a very small pile audio mixer, as well as a stream deck that I used to use to do shortcuts for the computers. If you haven't seen a stream deck, it's a 5 wide and 3 deep button little matrix thing, and you can program each button independently, and you can program what graphics and text go to each one. They're all like a little LCD screen behind there. So I had one of those already. So I had a stream deck and an audio mixer. I had a boom mic with a nice microphone with a pop filter already for my audio teleconferences and video teleconferences for work. And I had a 720p, really high-end, nice webcam, a Cisco one, top of the line a couple of years ago. I also had a GoPro 5 Black, and I bought that a few years ago, frankly because it hooks up to my Mini Cooper, and they make all sorts of accessories, and they're just cool little things to play with. So my first stream last Thursday, I basically used those. Didn't have a camera on the back glass at all. I took the GoPro, mounted it to the ceiling, and pitched it so you saw the play field and the back glass all together. And I have a little clip that goes to my drop ceiling, because my ceilings are incredibly low in my basement, and hooked it up to that, and that was the first stream. I then decided that I really kind of liked streaming, and decided to go out and buy a couple cameras on Amazon. So I did some research and saw that almost everybody else streaming pin was using the Logitech 922 webcam that does 1080 at 60 frames, and I got 2 of those. So what we're streaming with right now is the face camera and the back glass camera are both those 922s, those nice Logitechs, and the overhead camera is the GoPro, and it seems to be working real well. And then all of that is being plugged into a laptop that is running Streamlabs OBS. Now, I used OBS in the past, but I'd never used the Streamlabs version. It's OBS with just a better user interface and basically a cloud save configuration ability, which is really nice because I can actually change the screens around upstairs on my real computer and then come down here to the laptop and restore those. And so that's the setup at the moment. Now, I do have on order, which was supposed to be here Wednesday, a tripod, which is a light stand that will hold all of the cameras for me. And I was on the board of directors of a makerspace that's here in my hometown where we live in here. I'm going to go over there and build some extensions and things for the rig there, and try to make it so that all the cameras are on the tripod, and that the tripod has the ability really to kind of tuck underneath the pin, so that I don't need too much room. Because I'm really hoping to be able to go and shoot or stream at conventions. So I reached out to the local convention that my wife and I are going to at the end of June. It's Pintastic. And asked them, hey, is there a way I could bring a streaming rig and stream? They talked to me about how bad the internet connection is at the current hotel, and basically said, streaming, you're not going to be able to do it very well here. But in 2020, they're moving to a new hotel, and that would definitely be a possibility then. And of course, I replied, great, keep me in mind. If you need anything, I'm always around to help. And so now I'm helping record all the seminars with the gear that I have and gear that somebody else has. Yes, I've seen the Pin Stadium lights, and they're not just made for people who stream, they're made for everybody. I've seen the Pin Stadium lights, and I think they're fantastic. I actually want a set for my Sopranos machine. If anybody out there has played the Sopranos, the lighting in that game, I don't know how to say it correctly. They flash all of the GI lights on and off quite a bit. And during a multi-ball, you can't see what the hell you're doing. So, I really want to set up Pin Stadiums for that. I'll eventually pick up a set, I think. Because the GI lights just flash, and you've got the balls going around you. God, it's gonna give you a seizure, for God's sakes. Oh, you have a regular Pin Stadium on your Lord of the Rings? Yeah, see, Peppers, you got all the good machines. I don't have any new stuff. If I remember correctly, didn't you have a Hobbit too? Or Pez, rather. I meant Pez, not Peppers. Ugh. So, for those of you guys who just joined, this is a 1983 Gottlieb Royal Flush Deluxe. It's a pretty fun game. Pretty easy to understand. Got drop targets starting at 10 up to ace. And so it goes 10, jack, jack, queen, 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 king, king, ace. And it goes red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red. And the purpose is to basically get all the drop targets down. And there's different scores here. So the first one is you get 10,000 for jacks, a pair of jacks or a pair of kings. You get 20,000 for a pair of jacks and a pair of kings. 30,000 for a three of a kind, so the three queens. 3 queens and 2 kings or 2 jacks gives you 40, and the royal flush gives you 50,000. You got 3 joker cards. They don't count towards this at all. But if you light up the yellow, the green, and the red, they light up this 10,000 spot. And if you hit this with all 3 of those on, it's 40,000 points. It's 10,000 just by itself, and each light's an extra 10,000. And that's essentially the game. Simple rules. Shots are pretty straightforward, easily laid out, easy for people to understand. After you get the royal flush and all the drop targets down the first time, they all reset and you move down to the second row. You do them the second time, and they basically just, the game keeps resetting. That's about all that happens. I'm going to take a quick sip of soda between games here. I don't think I've met Scott from Pin Stadium. I've seen him online, but really the date, really, the only convention that Megan and I go to is the local one. I haven't been out to Pinfest or Pingsburg or anything. I wanted to go to Allentown this past weekend, but that didn't happen. Frankly, because I'm out of work at the moment, and even though I'm not worried about getting a job, I've got interviews and things progressing. Still cutting out some of the non-essential spending, and I can't believe I missed that. And so I didn't get to go. We didn't want to spring for the hotel. And it's not just the hotel, actually, because we have the pug. So it's hotel and trying to find someone to watch our dog, and that's usually what the real issue is. What's a good high score on this? That's a really good question. I think my wife had a high score of 3.6 million on this. I had a high score that was close to 6 million before we replaced the system board. And that's a real hard score to get. Both of those are. My good scores lately, because I don't play this that much, my good scores lately are around 2.2 million. And to do that, it's really, you can drain the first two balls and get a score like that on the third ball, because the third ball, all scores are doubled. The thing I think is weird about this game is I don't know why they even put a pop bumper in it. And if anybody has an opinion on this, I'd love to hear it. But that pop bumper up top there is reasonably useless in my mind. And sometimes you can wait 5 minutes for the ball to come down to the play field, because there's a certain spot that you can get the ball stuck in where I'll actually walk around now that I just drained. You can get it stuck so that between this target and this pop bumper, the ball just bounces back and forth. And if the pop bumper bumps it up top here, it'll sometimes bump back in again. I've had it sit there for like 5 minutes one day. Of course, it's not going to do it tonight, but yeah, I don't know why they put it up there. Yeah, I agree. There'd be a huge blank spot, but they could have put something else up there. Something, I don't know. It's an old layout. This was a game that was designed in '76, so. Yeah, I think another bank of drop downs, like the Joker cards or something, would have been interesting. Something that gave you more points, because that shot right there. Look, we hit it twice. I think it's only worth like 1,000 points, or maybe 5,000. I don't know. It's not worth anything to hit the pop bumper into that target. I guess that's why I'm saying it's just not incredibly interesting. But yeah, this was our baby for a little while. And it was basically the only working pin in the house for the first week we had pinball, because even though we bought the second pin, I think it was literally 2 days after this one. Yeah, a manual lock would have been cool. I agree. We bought Rack 'em Up literally 2 days after we bought this one. Rack 'em Up needed a lot of work. The driver board in Rack 'em Up had so many blown out transistors that half of the lights on that damn game didn't work when the first time I actually got to play it. Once I got the flippers working, someone had cut out the front door, so all the coin mech was gone. The door was there. Someone had left it there, but had obviously was considering using that machine as a parts machine. So they cut all the wires, so I had to reconnect all that together, and just to be able to get a game to start. And there were flipper problems because someone put in the end of stroke switches backwards on that machine. So all the coils were just all the flipper coils were just smoked. So I have to say that people like Pinball Resource and Marco are what got that machine back together again. So Pez, yeah, I've only had these machines for about 3 years. That's when I started collecting and rebuilding, and kind of the catalyst for that was there was an arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire, called Pinball Wizard, and the woman owner Sarah, she was shutting down. She went to go renegotiate the lease at the end of her lease, and didn't get favorable terms, and so she decided, my repair business is really good. She repairs a lot of pins and a lot of video games for local arcades, including Fun Spot, which most people have heard of. It's the largest arcade in the country, up in Laconia, New Hampshire. So she basically just decided to give it up, and she started selling off machines. And she had to have had 1,000 pinballs in the back room because she had 300 on the floor. So hey Delaware, great! I'm glad you could join us again. She had 100. I forget what the exact number, 160, 200 or something on the floor. She had 300 or 400 games in her arcade. Most of the stuff that was on the arcade floor, she sold pretty much instantly. Because they were in really good shape, and pretty much all of her stuff. It was kind of like going to someone's house who's an arcade and you're playing their private collection. So she had a lot of limited edition stuff, and what she didn't take home sold pretty much instantly. These were in the back room, and this one it's in beautiful condition. So I originally thought I was going to buy myself a pinball machine, and that was going to be it. I was going to have a pin for the house to play, and I was going to put it in my game room, and that was it. And 1 week later, my wife and I had 6 pinball machines in the house. As those things happen. Actually, I think it was 7. I think we had 7 a week later. Yeah, we had. I had 3 solid states and. No, it was 6. 6 or 7, doesn't matter, right? And then I, like everybody who went to a bowling alley in the 90s, I wanted an Addams Family more than anything, and I finally found one in decent condition in my hometown for sale, and paid more than $5,000 for a 20-year-old machine. Yeah, one pinball machine. That's funny. I know, isn't it? Bag of potato chips, right? And so we bought Addams Family, and then when that happened, we realized that they weren't going to be able to live in the living room and dining room. I should actually post some pictures someplace so everybody could see what my living room and dining room looked like. Luckily I have an open concept house that was built in the late 60s, and so it didn't look too weird, but it took up a lot of room, and it was noisy. Because when you have 3 electromechanicals, no one's watching TV, I'll tell you that much. No, I haven't talked about... You can talk about Ding Dong. Come on down and talk about Ding Dong. So yes, one of the 3 electromechanicals was a game called Ding Dong, which is a 1968... was known by another name, which my wife will chime in again. was. It was school themed, and thank you for that, Pepper. And so schoolhouse themed, you were spelling words, and we sold that one to make room, and sold it to a guy here in Nashua who absolutely loves it. We're actually friends on Facebook now. I keep meaning to, I should invite him over to stream with us, actually. He's a real nice guy. There we go. We got another royal flush. Now all I have to do is drop that king. I don't think I can backhand from here. No, I can't. I just drained it because of it. Okay, so quick rundown on Royal Flush. So, very simple game. It's a 1976 design. Gottlieb made it in 1976. This is the 1983 remake, Royal Flush Deluxe. Exact same play field. You got one pop bumper, 3 lanes, and 4 lanes down the bottom, 2 slingshots. Captive Cup here. Captive Cup gives you 10,000. If you have any of the 3 jokers, it adds 10,000 apiece for each joker you have. So you got a green one, a red one, and a yellow one up here. So if you spike any of those 3 spots or go through these lanes, you get an extra 10,000 per when you hit this. It's kind of hard for you guys to see because the camera angle couldn't really get it. But I've got a 10, 2 jacks, 3 queens, 2 kings, and an ace, and they go red, black, red, black, red, black, red. Basically, I'm trying to get a royal flush, and so I'm basically just shooting at the 9 drop targets. I get a pair of jacks or a pair of kings, I get 10,000. Both jacks and kings, 20. The 3 queens, 30. 40,000 if you get a full house, which is the 3 queens and either the jacks or the kings, and then 50,000 for a royal flush. When you knock all the targets down, the game resets. You're now on the second set of lights on this zigzag, and the last ball, all points are double. I'm just a bill on Capitol. Oh God! All right, I got it. She said Schoolhouse Rock. Now you've got that stuck in my head. Oh, they're on the play field as well. Okay, good point. Good point. You just, but I don't know if you guys can tell when they're down or not. Is what I'm thinking. Like if I pulled the camera back and pitched it a little bit, you might have been able to see the drops. You know, this is one, like I've said, it's gonna stay in my collection probably forever. It was the first pin we bought, and it's really easy to understand. Friends come over and they just get it. You know, hey, I'm trying to shoot all the targets down. It does have a save post in it, and I don't put save posts in machines unless they came with it. This one, you know, shipped with it, so it gets it. Oh, you can tell if they're down. Okay, good. Yeah, I could pull out another camera, but. So, I don't know if you were on last night, Delaware. I streamed Rack 'em Up, which is another 83 Gottlieb. That game is a little more complex than this one. A lot of strategy. There's a lane change, which is crucial to it, which makes it harder for beginners. You know, someone earlier was saying they weren't really a big Gottlieb fan, and I can understand why, because everybody else had changed to longer, thinner flippers a lot sooner, and Gottlieb kept these giant, chunky things for a long time. The thing is when you get one of these early solid-state Gottliebs running well, like this one is, oh my God, they're first off, they're rock solid, and they're just so much fun to play because they've been designing pinball machines pretty much longer than anybody else. I mean, Gottlieb goes back Gottlieb goes back to the 30s. So, you know, they had the elements right, and they just play great. But on these 80s machines, there's some work to get the electronics right. And so, if you do buy one, be prepared to know how to solder and have a good soldering iron. And I don't mean like a big Weller soldering gun. I mean like a nice vacuum station. You can buy a decent cheap vacuum station on Amazon for $230. I think maybe a little more than that. Maybe it's $300 with the. If you want one with a reflow gun, I know it's more. But you can send me a message, and I'll send you a link to that. Because you know this is all everything in these things was holes through solder, so they're really easy to fix if you know basic solder and you have a good temperature controlled gun. And you can, if you have a good temperature controlled gun, and you can really work on these. Again, if you have a problem with your system board, depends what you want to do, but you can buy a new system board that's an all-in-one system board for these for a couple $100, maybe $250 at most. Rotten Dog makes it. It's got dip switches on it so that you can select the game. It'll work in every System 80 game. 80A, A and B, I believe. Easy to fix if you have 3 hands. Actually, if I open this up, this machine probably has very little electronics on the bottom of it. I mean, because let's look at this for a second. I've got targets, I've got reed switches for lanes, but really the only thing for coils under here is I have coils for the flippers, I have coils for the slingshots, and I have coils for this, and that's it. So I've got 5 coils underneath this, and that's it. So this plate feels surprisingly light, and it's just got a lot of lights. And so this machine in particular is very, very easy to work on. And electronically, when it comes to the back box electronics, again, if you make sure that your grounds are good. Oh yes, I do, and those are, and a coil for the pop. You're right. It's still not nearly as much as some of the EMs that I have over here that have a lot more stuff in them, I guess is my point. You're right. There are 2 coils for, actually there might be 3. Hang on, I'll tell you. I'm curious myself now. There's 2 coils for the, there's 1 coil for the pop bumper, and there's 2 coils for the drop targets. It's still, I mean, I could pop a camera under here while we're playing, and you could look at it, and you just go, wow, that's very, very simple. And because it's solid state, you don't have any logic coils, you don't have any reset coils, you don't have any of that stuff that you have in the electromechanical ones. The driver board is so straightforward. The only things you ever really blow on that are transistors or little picks. Easy to diagnose, because if you have the manual, most of what those do is just trigger blinking lights, right? And so if you have a light that's not working, you change the bulb. If the light's still not working, you can change out the transistor, and it's really simple. That's what I was saying. If you have a hole through desoldering iron, a nice one with a vac, you can do it in no time. I don't know what the Gottlieb Golf one was, but if it was made in the 70s and it has the right thing, I might buy one. The light doesn't work, buy a new game. Again, I did upgrade this to all LEDs, so this is all LEDs. I do soft white LEDs, and in this vintage machine you really don't have to worry about non-ghosting bulbs. So you can actually use the really cheap ones from has them. I can't think of the name of the company. Delaware, help me out here. Where does everybody buy their locks from that have the number 7500? No, it's not Comet. Oh, damn. I can't think of the name of it. So there's a company where everybody was buying their locks from. I have a bag of them over there. The keys, the keys look like this. You know, they're kind of like a big thing, T-shaped. Pinball Life? I think it's Pinball Life. Pinball Life you can buy, I think that's it. I'll have to double check. Yeah, we are talking about bulbs, but it's the same place I buy my locks from. It's the cheapest place you can buy locks for a pinball. I think it's Pinball Life. I'm almost positive. I buy them by the 1,000, and they're cheap. I forget how much 1,000 bulbs is, but it's dirt cheap. And they're frosted, soft white. They look just like the original bulbs that were in here. Doesn't change the color. Yeah, it's Pinball Life. Thank you. I knew Delaware. I knew you would know. I figured somebody would chime in when I said the key number is 7500 because all of us, I think, buy the same damn keys with the same locks. Yeah, buy them by the 1,000. You can buy them by the 100 or the 500. Yeah, no, not 1,000 locks, Peppers. I don't need 1,000 locks. Although I probably do have 20 of them sitting in a bag around here someplace. But Comet is where you normally go to buy LEDs. And they have LED kits for some of the more common machines like Adam's Family and things. They do a great job. Comet Pinball is fantastic for that stuff. But I can't say enough good things about the kind of generic soft white bulbs that Pinball Life has. And they look like the original, and that's the important thing to me. I want to use less energy, so I want and I don't want them to burn out as quick either. And I don't want to generate the heat in the back box, so I want to put LEDs in, but I want them to be soft and to look original. And this Pinball Life is the place that I've found them that has them the cheapest, with a low failure rate. So a lot of times when you're buying cheap bulbs like that, you're going to get 100 bulbs and you're going to have a failure rate. You're going to throw out 10 of them. Pinball Life's, when you buy 100 bulbs, I think I've thrown out less than 1 out of 100. I would be surprised if I had 5 bad bulbs out of 1,000. And so, and I agree. The blaze bulbs are really bright, and I don't want that in something that's like this. Again, I don't restore back to original and new. For me, it's about making it functional again and having it be rock solid playable. And so, I do have LEDs in my Sopranos. I do bright LEDs, I should say. I do have bright LEDs in my Adam's Family. I have all of those light kits and all of that kind of stuff. But when it really comes to these older machines, I like the more original look, the more classic look. And for me, people say to me, well, why don't you just go with bulbs? I don't want that back glass to deteriorate anymore because these older machines, it is glass. And I want to get that heat away from them, and the LEDs do that. And I think that's important. Again, I don't believe, I own these machines, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of just the caretaker of them. These machines are going to outlast me, and they're going to get passed on to somebody else, or someone else is going to own them, buy them, enjoy them, and have them. So I want to make sure that they get taken care of. So, the world according to Jillian, you should have LEDs in your back boxes to protect your back glass. jokers, all that does is all it hitting the jokers is once you hit it, if I hit it green here or green here, it's going to just light the green one here, and it'll give me an extra 10,000 there. That's all it really does. And the real purpose of the game is to knock down the drop targets. And if you like drop targets, this is the game, because they're all right there in a row for you. And see, I just hit that one, that green one on the side there, and we lit all three here. Of course, that's now going to reset because I just drained the ball. I do not have any machines on site at the pub. No. We are strictly a board game pub, and so you know, people do D&D and that kind of stuff as well. But I do not have any games there. Boston's fortunate enough to have in Cambridge 2 places that have pins. There's a company in Boston that I believe it's called Boston Pinball. They maintain their machines real well, and they really take care of them, and they rotate them around between a couple different spots that they have. So 2 places in Cambridge, Massachusetts, if you're ever here. Yeah, it's also, you're right, it's also lighting the lanes, the lower lanes as well. If you're ever in the Boston area, there's some really good places to play pin already. A place called A4Cade, so it's arcade, but it's with a 4 in it. They have 8, maybe 10 pins there, and a bunch of classic arcade games. It's kind of a cute little location. There was a food truck in Boston that was on the Great Food Truck Race called Roxy's Grilled Cheese. And Roxy's Grilled Cheese and Boston Pinball teamed up to put in A4Cade behind Roxy's. So you walk into the space through the front door. There's a dining room, there's a food counter, and right in front of you, you're walking through doors into the back room, and then you walk into the big walk-in refrigerator, and that is the arcade. So it's one of those things that's kind of like a speakeasy. If you don't know it's there, you don't know it's there. If you ask at the front desk, they'll tell you, yeah, just go walk right in. But we had a company outing there, and half the employees couldn't figure out where it was. There's also a place called Flat Top Johnny's, which is also in Cambridge. That's at 1 Kendall Square. They do tournaments there once a week, I believe, on Wednesdays, and they have some good stuff there. You know, latest Stearns and that kind of stuff. There is a pub that a bar, nightclub, whatever you want to call it, in Everett, Massachusetts, that opened up last year as well. That I think they have 10 pins there. I forget the name of it. Megan could look it up if she's still up there moderating and looking. So some really nice places here in my general area that already have pins. I wanted to put a pin in my pub or two because it would have been a nice way for me to get a Jersey Jack, but you know, it doesn't really fit our motif. The pub is in a 1924 bank building with a big dome ceiling, and it doesn't fit the motif, and it would just echo too much, I think, and disturb from the ambiance of the tranquility of the video game, the board games and things. That being said, we have over 500 board games. My wife is the board game librarian for the business. She can tell you everything we've got. It's a local TV station in Boston. Megan can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Channel 5. I know they renumbered all the channels when they went to the HD conversion, so I don't know what it is. Oh, what was the question? The question was, what is the name of the pub in Everett? The name of the bar in Everett that has all those pins. You can go up to Pinside and find it. Oh, I hit 2-player by accident. No big deal. Now I guess I'm going to be player 2 because player 1 just drained. Huh? And I think they have 10 or 12 pins there. It's a good number. I have not been there yet, but I know people who have that say that their pins are also maintained by the Boston Pinball Company, and that they're in good condition. And that's what's important to me. So many times you go someplace with a pin and they're just beat to hell, and not something that's worth shoving tokens or quarters into. Yeah, I really wish maybe someday if I'm rich and famous, I'll own a barcade. But I'm neither of those right now, so that's gonna have to wait. But my other comment to you, Megan, that you could correct me if I'm wrong, is what channel Chronicle was on this week. I know it used to be Channel 5, but I'm not sure if that is true anymore, because they renumbered all the channels since I was a kid when they went HD. And so I think it's 5, but I'm not sure. So we had a little 5-minute special on a local TV show called Chronicle. They go out and they show happenings and to-dos in the area. We were on it because they did a show about gaming, and my business partner and I both... Oh, they didn't change their number? Okay, so it is still Channel 5. So whatever Channel 5 in Boston is, you can probably find the video on their website. They did an episode on games, and they came in contact with us. And so we had a nice little special this week. I think it made the space really look nice, even though since they shot that, we've done some other upgrades. The other thing that happened to the pub that was really nice recently was we were on one of the best 54 bars in Boston. We've only been open since December, and Down the Road Beer Company, that's it. I've heard they've got a lot of pins and a lot of good stuff there. It has 12. But we made top... There's another Royal Flush. We were doing pretty good tonight, actually. We made one of the top 54 bars in Boston, and that was quite an accomplishment because our bar portion of our restaurant takes an incredibly long time to get a liquor license in Massachusetts. It took us nearly 6 months, and so we were listed as one of the top bars in Boston after just 6 weeks. So if you do come up, definitely let me know. I'll meet you at the pub. It's our website is nothing impressive. It's just a little WordPress site. We're going to be doing some more work on that later, but you can look us up on theadventurepub.com, as well as Adventure Pub Boston. But Adventure Pub was actually taken by a publishing company. Megan can also correct me if I'm wrong. We have 500 plus board games and more coming in all the time, and she can tell you all about those. When I was a kid, or even a 20-year-old or whatever, we all had dreams of owning a bar. I never thought I would actually own a bar, though. Alright, so it's 1 o'clock. Been on for almost 2 hours. 1 hour and 57 minutes according to the timer. So I'm running out of topics to talk about, especially for you people who are here day after day. So if you have some topics, let me know. I I didn't even look at what the score was to see if it was a good game or not. You like the cheap ass games a lot, yeah. I have Streamlabs to censor words, but I should remove ass from it because I don't think that's a word we really want. I want to censor. It was over 800K. Yeah. Let's see what else is happening. So yeah, Megan's birthday today. We didn't do anything real special. She spent it with her cousin. Try to keep streaming next week, but I do have a couple days that I'm gonna actually have to get some sleep. So I won't be able to stay up with you guys on the West Coast quite as late as I do. And tonight I'll probably stream for another hour, and then go upstairs and spend some time with Megan, maybe watch some TV or something. This has kind of replaced my TV time, which is okay because this is a lot more fun than the TV time, and well, not without my wife, I mean. But yeah, sleep is overrated. I know I've been saying that for years. But it's good because this time of year I actually don't have that many TV shows that I actually watch. I could do a daytime stream. Yes, I could, but everybody's working. No one's on during the day. I don't know if anybody watched Jack Danger's stream today. I didn't even tell my wife this yet because I thought she was going to get too excited. You wouldn't mind watching it work? Well, I was actually wondering about that, as if people would put me on in the background while they were at work. I'd said that to Megan before. But Jack Danger's stream at 7 Eastern today was a just chatting stream. He does those every so often. He was playing a combination of so he had I'll tell the story after this game, so I'm not fighting over the sound. So he had Photoshop up on his laptop or his PC. I don't know if it's a laptop or not, and he was doing his game design time that he does sometimes, where he sits there and says, hey, everybody in the community, we're going to design a game tonight. And the game that he put out for poll, I was a little snarky, but was the Muppet Show. I know that'll make you happy, Megan. So he was designing the Muppet Show as a pinball game. Not to actually get produced by anybody, but if he wanted to do a one-of it, or a concept if someone else wanted to do it. There's some discussion that Jersey Jack may own the rights to do the Muppet Show as a pinball. And that's not confirmed or not yet or anything, but he was taking suggestions from the community, which was fun. And when he wanted to take a break from the Photoshop drawing he was doing of the playfield, he was over playing Dolly Parton, Bally's Dolly Parton. So it was a very interesting stream. And it was kind of funny because some of the other ideas for pins that were on pin side, people wanted a Pulp Fiction, people wanted this. I am trying to lobby. I want a Meatloaf pinball machine. Okay? Stern, if you're listening, the next music pin needs to be Meatloaf. Does anybody else agree with me? I mean, I think a Bat Out of Hell Meatloaf themed pinball machine would be fantastic. I can't believe that Queen and Meatloaf do not have pinball machines, but Aerosmith, AC/DC, and don't get me wrong, I love Aerosmith, AC/DC, and Metallica as well. But, you know, it took them this long to get a good Beatles pinball machine. Oh, where is my Queen and my Meatloaf? Yeah, wide body would be nice too, wouldn't it? Although Meatloaf's not as big as he used to be. So if you were making a weight crack there, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Bat Out of Hell. Can you imagine the toys you could do with that? I mean, you could have a Bat Out of Hell multi-ball. You know, you could have a jukebox on the playfield to do Paradise by the, you know, a dashboard or something for Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. I mean, the theming of his albums alone. And you know, the thing is he'd probably all be for it. He and the guy who wrote his music own the rights to his music. So it's not even like you have to go through a major corporation to get it. If anybody's watched any of the Meatloaf, I'm a Meatloaf fan. I always have been. The Meatloaf documentary that they did a few years ago, like on Behind the Music, was hilarious. Like everybody, they went. So, as the story goes, they went and I'll read that comment in a second. Hang on. They basically made the album in a studio that was affiliated with Warner Brothers. I know this because I worked for Warner Brothers. Van Halen. Yes, I would totally go for a Van Halen game. My God, think about the theming on that one too. You've got Hot for Teacher. You've got another amazing guitar solo there. I mean, come on. I'm all over Van Halen. I think Queen would make a good one. I think Meatloaf would make a good one. I don't know about The Cure. Blues Brothers! Delaware, you're absolutely right. Blues Brothers, come on! So at any rate, Meatloaf, they had the original Bat Out of Hell album. I'm doing horrible now that I'm sitting. They had the original Bat Out of Hell album. They made it in a studio that was affiliated with Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers didn't want to produce it. I worked for WB, and I laugh at their mistakes that they've made over the years. And they bicycled it around to all sorts of places. It took them 2 years to get a record label that would give them a chance. I think they ended up on Columbia eventually, if I remember correctly. Here's the thing. This was the thing that Jack was talking about earlier. Halfway through, while doing the design for a Muppets pinball, he was like looking at YouTube videos and saying, you know, all of the Muppet shows had special guests, and that was a crucial part of the show. And he broke at that point to go play Dolly Parton to think about it, because he's like, how are you going to, that was a good save, huh? How are you going to integrate all of that? And I think you'd have the same problem with Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live, even though you had all of those great skits that you could put in there, you could do the what's the name of the new show on Saturday Night Live? I haven't watched it in so long. It's The Daily Show? No, The Daily Show is an old show. Someone help me out here. Weekend Update. That's what it was called, right? You know, you could have it in Weekend Update mode. You could have all sorts of things there. But the main, you know, yeah, you the Coneheads. You could have a Coneheads thing. A Wayne's World thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do. But a lot of what Saturday Night Live revolves around is the special guests and the musical acts. I couldn't save that one, huh? So I don't know. I don't know how Saturday Night Live would actually sell. Gumby. I'm sorry to say that. I think if you're under 30, you might not remember Gumby. I mean, we're all dating ourselves. But yeah, I mean, I know Stern is going to come out with a musical pin machine every year. I expect them. I expect them to have a game that's music themed at least once a year, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a music pin theme at least once a year, especially if it's current. You know. A Weird Al machine, yes. Oh my God. I'm sorry, we saw Weird Al in concert. Has anybody else seen Weird Al in concert? You can get tickets pretty cheap. I don't remember what we ended up paying for those tickets, but it wasn't much. It was at the, he's playing at community type theaters nowadays. You know, so we saw him at the Portland, is it Portland Music Hall? No, Portsmouth Music Hall. What's the name of that place? Megan will chime in a second. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, he was really good. I think I enjoyed. I don't know if everybody knows who Emo Phillips is. Emo Phillips opened for him as a comedian. Emo Phillips was in what do you call it? In UHF as the woodshop teacher who cuts his finger off and has the weird voice. What was that? Megan, chime in with the joke that he told that everybody thought was horrible, that you and I thought was hilarious. I can't even remember what it was. Yeah, UHF is a classic. It is a classic movie. Yes, and Emo is a strange character. He really is. But he, it was funny because Weird Al got him up. Weird Al basically said, I can't believe he's doing, he does the same act every night. He gets up there with his jacket, and his jacket is oversized, and he's like pulling stuff out. Yeah, same set every night. But he's like, oh my word, I can't remember the joke now. Oh, this is gonna bother me. Oh God, no, I do remember it. I'm sorry. Yes, he looks out of the audience and he turns and goes, "When I was in college, I was strapped for cash. It's not something I'm proud of." It was just so dry in his delivery that it was just like, oh my God, he didn't. Oh, he did. That was fantastic. I think that was it. Was Megan? Did I screw the joke up, or was that it? I think that was it. He was full of one-liners like that, and they were all good. Talking about the dog drinking from the toilet. My dog drinks from the toilet. It tickles. You know, it's like, what? He's such an awkward character that it makes it funny. I guess my sense of humor is extremely obscure tonight. Maybe it's because I've, been up all night. Yeah, it's so dry and so obscure, and you have to think about it for a second, and then you're just like, oh my God, he did. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? I was strapped for cash in college. I'm not proud of it. But he did a good 45-minute set, and, I'm sorry, that takes talent. You're there for 45 minutes. You're carrying that. He was carried that stage by himself, and he does it night after night. I don't think I could do it. I mean, I'm not that creative. I don't think I could write comedy that way, and be able to pull it off. Monty Python would be another great game. Stephen Wright. I'm not familiar with Stephen Wright. I'm going to have to look that one up later. I'll have to look that one up. Alright, we got to add credits again. I'm eventually going to make it so I can add credits to this without having to open the door. There's a way on these System 80 machines you can, if you flip the leaf switch over, you can use the coin return and push that to add credits. And I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I never do. So eventually I'm going to do that. More British shows. I love British comedy. I have the entire season of Fawlty Towers memorized from my childhood. I loved British comedy. And and pretty much almost all of Are You Being Served when I was a kid too. I was really into PBS and British comedy when I was in middle school and early high school. Loved it. John Cleese was fantastic. He still is fantastic. But, I thought that was going to bounce. You know, the people I haven't seen tonight, I haven't seen, what's his name, Warlock or Irish Eyes tonight. They must be busy. Either they're lurking in the background watching YouTube videos, not chatting with us, which is also a distinct possibility. So I haven't checked to see. I still think I'm a few short of my my goal. So if there's anybody who hasn't added me as a favorite or whatever it's called, please do. I want to get that in the next couple days. Let me see what my count's up to. I think we might still be at 47 followers. Yes, we're still at 47 followers. I need 3 more. 3 more to get to 50. And we got like 3 more days to do it. So, because at 50 followers, I think we unlock emojis and stuff too. Pink Floyd, yeah, there was never a Pink Floyd pin either. See, it's interesting. I mean, there's a Kiss pin. There were some others, but a lot of the musicians in the 70s and 80s just didn't get any love. It's weird. Yeah, because imagine the toy. You know, the hook with Stern Music games is there's always a really good, very well themed toy, right? I mean, Sparky and you know, and all of those. I mean, there's always a decently themed toy in those games, and so that's why I think like Bat Out of Hell. I mean, you could do something with that. You know, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. You know, all of those games. You could really do something neat with a nicely themed toy. And when you think of Pink Floyd, I mean, naturally, if anybody, you know, those of us who actually went to a Pink Floyd concert, you know, the Big Pig. I mean, obviously that would be easy to put in there, but you'd have a Dark Side of the Moon mode, and you really could do it correctly, because Dark Side of the Moon, that kind of to me makes sense to orbit ramps, right? That'd be your orbit mode. You know, you could easily put in a wall, and damn, we missed the ace on that one. We were close. But you could easily put a wall in. Yeah, there's so much you could do with that. Man, I mean, and some of the most classic Pink Floyd music, it really isn't actually off the album The Wall. I mean, you got Learning to Fly, you've got Money. I mean, come on, can you imagine having a Money mode? I mean, think about that. The Money mode would be just great, because it could just be switch hits or stuff, right? You know, money all over the place, and you know, you'd have the ka-chinging as it's going. You know, it's just, yeah, I agree. Especially if you ever went to a Pink Floyd concert. I have to admit, I was entirely too young when I went to a Pink Floyd concert. Okay. I grew up in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and we have the stadium there for the New England Patriots. It was the old stadium before the Patriots got any good. And yeah, I was in middle school when I went to that concert with friends by ourselves. It's amazing the things that parents would let us do back then. Oh my god. Things that you used to get away with as kids, that all of us used to get away with as kids, would be considered childhood neglect now. But I don't know, I think we trusted people more back then. I do remember there was one concert my father would not let me get near, though, and that was the Grateful Dead. The Grateful Dead came to Foxborough, and there was a bunch of us who wanted to go. You could always sneak into concerts. It was real easy, and if you lived in town, you wouldn't get arrested. My father was like, "You can't go to the Grateful Dead concert. You will get stoned walking, through the parking lot. You'll be on something you don't even know what it is." But it was always interesting when the Grateful Dead hippies descended on town. I'm actually really enjoying this game tonight, more so than I have in a long time, which also goes back to I might start doing tournaments, because I think I'm enjoying it because I'm actually getting better. I guess playing for 3 hours a night would do that, right? So Delaware, have you been streaming lately? I saw you the other day. You were doing Fishtails or something. Wasn't sure what you had up next. Just Monday? But I mean, what other good pinball ideas would you want? There is a rumor, Megan's going to be happy about this one, probably just as much as I am, that some people believe that Jersey Jack, when he signed the deal for Pirates of the Caribbean, signed a multi-pin deal with Disney. And one of them is rumored to be The Muppet Show. The other one is rumored to be Toy Story. And I think Megan and I may need to sell a car because Avengers. Well, that would be good. Because if Toy Story is true, I am going to buy a limited edition or collector's edition, whatever he calls his limited editions. I am a Toy Story fanatic and a Pixar fanatic, and if he did that, I would be all over it. Oh, no. Oof. Thought I lost it there for a second. All I have to hit is this ace, and I can't get it to the right flipper to do it. And I missed it. Avengers. Oh. I'm sorry, Avengers sounds like something Stern would do more than Jersey Jack, though. So what does everybody think of the Deadpool pin? Oh, Outland. Yeah, I can't believe they're doing a fourth one either. Taxi's a good game. World Poker Tour's a good game. I don't know Stars. Scooby-Doo would... Yeah. Scooby-Doo. But, it's one of these things is... I feel like the theme of the game now has to match the modes. And I think that's really what's doing it for me. That was bad. Stars is a great game. I'm going to have to look up Stars. I don't know that one. Who made it? Oh, I'm getting tired, guys. late 70s Stearns. Okay, that's probably why I haven't seen it. Didn't even try. Nah. Solid state with chimes. So it's a real early solid state if it has chimes. So it's, what is it, like a 77 or something? So I think that's when Stern was still doing solid state with chimes, was 77, 78. Because after that they got a bad speech box. And you know, I do love the early 80s Gottlieb machines and the, you know, in that time frame. But they, the sounds in it were so bad. I do like chimes. I'm going to have to figure out how to mute the chimes on some of mine. Megan and I were talking about that, how we're going to do that to play the EMs. You can tell this thing has new rubbers in it because when it's bouncing off the posts quite a bit. You can tell it hasn't been worn in as much as Adam's Family, which I'm thinking might be time for new rubbers in that. Yeah, I'll have to look up stars. Alright, so we just got the ace to drop down now, which is not an easy shot. Gotta hit it. There we go. Oh. Taxi is a great game. World Poker Tour is a great game. The problem, I don't think World Poker Tour got enough love for the same reason, because it's kind of like the same generation as The Sopranos, and it didn't get tournament love because it's a long game, you know? And if the settings are set wrong on it, it's kind of dull. If the settings are set right on it, it's an awesome game. But so many people have them. People who have them in their houses have them turned down so much. Yeah, I like a lot of the sleeper games. Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's another one. I wonder why they didn't do that. I mean, because that movie franchise really needed to make money. And they could have tied that in with Meatloaf. I should have bumped that up. So many good ideas for pins. There really are. So many things that could be done. You know, and I do like. I really do like the Jersey Jack did dialed in an unlicensed pin. Because I was starting to get worried that original pins were going to become a thing of the past. And if we look back, most of the pins in the 70s and 80s, like this one here, were unlicensed pins. So and I think dialed in is a great pin. I really do. Again, I don't have one yet. Maybe someday. I need to make my millions, guys. I need to figure out how to make millions to be able to have all these pins. It's either that or I have to convince my wife that we need to start a vending company and need to start putting pinballs on location someplace. Which I still don't have the capital for, so that's not going to happen either. I screwed that up. Yeah, I'm gonna be on for another 25 minutes. I'm gonna go till 2 a.m. my time tonight, and then I'm gonna call it a night. Total Nuclear was a good game, yeah. But I mean, what was the last big game that Stern made that was original? What year was that? You know, I can't think of anything that they made that wasn't licensed. And I mean, I know licensed pins sell easier, and if you're vending them, you know, people identify with it and go for it. But I still think there's a good market for original pin with no IP, and I think, you know, Jersey Jack proved that with Dialed In, and and because he didn't have to pay licensing or anything, I think he was able to do things with the pin that that hadn't been done because they had extra money. Oh, Black Knight. What year was Black Knight? Yeah, but Black Knight's all right. I know what you're saying there, Pepper, but I mean, Black Knight's not an original idea. It's kind of a extension of an existing pin franchise, right? So, I mean, High Speed was an original pin, and then you had the second one, which I actually liked better than the first one. Although I played High Speed a lot when I was a teenager. It's amazing how much money I must have wasted in arcades as a kid, huh? I got one queen to drop and I missed it. We did get the royal flush on that one, though. Alright. Coke is empty. Even the water over here. I do have a little bit of Coke left in a bottle, though. Megan and I almost bought a space shuttle last year. It was in good condition at a pinball convention, and it was one of those. I was like, you know, if it's still here at the end of the weekend, I'll make the guy an offer. And we went back to look at it, and there it was getting packed up by the new owner, and it was their first pin, which I was kind of glad it went to someone that was their first pin. I don't know, for some reason, I don't have a problem. I like people buying their first pins. Space Shuttle was a good game. Has anybody out there played the Houdini game? And what do you guys think of it? And then I'm going to ask, has anybody played, what did people think of Pirates, the new Pirates that Jersey Jack made? I personally didn't like it. All I have to hit is this ace. I just need to get this ball under control. There we go. There we go. Alright, let's do this. No, missed it. shots in this game are just so damn powerful. Getting the ball to slow. Almost lost that one. Almost ate that one. You're saying that about Pirates? It didn't feel finished? Yeah, that was our impression too. Megan and I both didn't like it. It just didn't. It just wasn't right. It wasn't done. I was kind of disappointed by that. Yeah, I think it was a good attempt on their part, but I think it was a miss. And, you know, I want Jack to have a good reputation because he seems, you know, all the interactions I've had with him, he seems like a great guy. He really, you know, cares about what he's doing and the company that he's putting together. He got a little bit of a bad reputation with Woz when Wizard of Oz first came out because the software again wasn't finished and he was already on to the next thing, working on the next game. So a lot of the Woz people really have a bitter taste in their mouth. I know someone here in my area who basically said he'd never buy another Jersey Jack chain because Wizard of Oz was so bad. And you know, and he was a guy who took a risk on a new pinball guy. Because, I mean, when you think about it, there have been quite a few pinball manufacturers that have taken people's money and never delivered anything. You know? And so, and I kind of feel like Pirates wasn't finished. It wasn't polished. That being said, I know people who loved Hobbit, and I think the world of Dialed In. So I'm really hopeful that Wonka is going to be amazing, and I'm really hoping that it is. I was talking to some people on the phone yesterday from the Pintastic convention, and I was saying about that, and they were like, "Oh, I don't think that the limited edition, whatever he calls them, collector's edition, I think is what he calls his limited, are going to be in production by the time we go to Pintastic." And I'm like, I wouldn't buy one of those anyways. Oh, you pre-ordered a Hobbit and waited 3 years for it. Ugh, God peppers. At least it was the second game, though. You knew you were going to get it. You know? Imagine pre-ordering Woz. You really didn't know if you were going to get it. I mean, who was it that, yeah. So you got a good deal. One of the seminars I went to last year, or maybe it was the year before, Todd Tuckey was the presenter. He was talking about, it was 2 years ago. He was talking about Big Bang Bar. And because there was a Big Bang Bar at the convention, but you had to pay for it. And all the money in it was going to charity. It wasn't in the free-to-play room, it was kind of in the hallway. And so people were talking about it because it was the game that almost didn't happen. And the people who got one, basically got a winning lottery ticket. Because some of those people paid $6,000 for a game that if it's in home use condition right now, people were selling for $25,000, $30,000. I mean, yeah, literally winning lottery tickets sitting in your drawer. But you had to wait for it. Yeah, a lot of people lost money on a bunch of games. I thought Big Bang Bar, all of the people who had paid money had gotten them, though. Is what I was told, was that he shipped everyone at a loss. He lost $1,000 on each one, but he shipped every game that he took money for. And that may not be true, but that's what I was told. I think Megan and I both played it once, and neither one of us were really impressed with it. But again, that's one of those things that, you know, I knew it was a very limited machine, but I'd never read anything about the rule set or any of that, so I didn't know. I hope I'm correct. That's what I had heard, was that that everybody who had ordered one had got it. He lost money, but it was important to the whoever that the people get it after, especially after so many. Pintastic last year, there was a Big Lebowski. Couldn't believe it. Never thought I'd see one. Megan was excited until I told her she'll never get one. But last time I checked, I think there's only, 43 Big Lebowskis out in the wild? I still think there's a big market if the resurgence of pinball keeps going the way it does, and people are continuing to make homebrew type pinball machines. I think there'll be a big market for people building cabinets and blank play fields for people. And I think there would be a big. I think there'd be a big need for things like drop targets and pop bumpers and logic type controllers for a Raspberry Pi for those people to make those make their own home games, especially now that everything's an LCD monitor in the back of a machine. You could easily download graphics and really build your own game. Hey, Grammy B. Grammy P, sorry. I said B. Thanks for joining us. So we're playing a 1983 Gottlieb Royal Flush Deluxe, which is a System 80A machine, solid state. They originally made the game back in '76 as a electromechanical game. They remade it in 83, and so this was the first pinball machine I ever bought. And we're streaming this one tonight. And last night we were streaming another 1983 Gottlieb, which was last night we were streaming another 1983 Gottlieb, which was Rack 'em Up. And we decided to do this one tonight. Let's see. Before that, we were streaming The Addams Family. We did that one for about 4 days, I think. Maybe 5, I don't remember. Delaware can tell me. He'll remember. So this is Fortnite, right? No, this is not Fortnite. flush again. Now all I have to do is get that king, and there's the king. And so now we get a reset. Oh, there we go. Ah. So this is Fortnite, right? Yeah, okay. Oh. I think I figured out what's making me tired so early tonight. And it's the repetitive music of this machine. I don't know how well you guys can hear it, but it's pretty it's pretty repetitive. Well, at least the 70s version of this game had a chime box in it, so you know, at least you had bells that were repetitive as opposed to this same carnival music. Oh, I can't believe I just let that one do that. Hey.
Just me.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna add me to your mods.
Yeah. Trolls.
Bah.
Don't feed the trolls.
Did you see that I said that Whoa Nelly is actually probably, it's only a 2015 was the last time it was made by Stern. That's a very non-proprietary.
Yeah, it is. But I think Whoa Nelly's a remake of a different game though. Isn't it?
I don't know, they released it twice.
Oh,
2011 and 2015, so do I have to be on your other thing?
No, you can open up the web browser on that one.
There it is.
Yeah, if you click the...
Yep.
And you're already on that screen, so you just, I think you go down to roles and you add yourself. Pretty sure that's how it works. Alright, so I still need, I think, 3 more followers to get to my 50 follower goal that I set. So anybody who's in here now that's not following me, please go up to that little heart at the top of the screen and hit follow. I stream as much as I can. I've only been doing it for a week, but I'm streaming as much as I can every night. And I'm kind of trying to start around 11, and I'm trying to end around 2 or 3. Last night it was much later than that. I don't think I started till 12:30 last night, and ended at more like 5 in the morning.
Did you start as late as 12:30?
Yeah.
I didn't think you started that late, but yes, you did come to bed
Yeah, I came
at
to
5
bed.
in the morning and had to make your bed.
And I had to make my bed because I got bit by something, and then I went crazy because I needed to
someone used the Stern factory to build it.
Oh, okay.
Or rather paid Stern to make them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't think I've ever seen a Whoa Nelly. This year, I'm going to pay a lot more attention.
Night Peppers.
Night Peppers. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Oh, I don't like how it gets faster. I know that means it's a good thing, but...
Yep. This machine's beautiful. This machine's just beautiful. I love this machine, guys. I don't care what
Hey, I
anyone
used to be
says.
really good at it. I kicked your butt at this game.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I haven't played it in forever.
You want to play a game?
One, and then I have to go get ready.
Well, I think we'll both...
Because
let
I
me
gotta
finish-
work in the morning.
Yeah, let me finish this. I got 2 balls left. This is
Okay.
ball 2. And then we'll play doubles.
Okay.
And
I can handle
then
that.
we'll sign off. So everyone who didn't know, it was my wife's birthday. Well, it's if she was in your time zone, she'd probably still be having her birthday. But it was yesterday, the 9th, and so everybody say happy birthday to my beautiful wife Megan, who lets me do stupid things like start streaming channels and have a house full of pinball machines, slot machines, and jukeboxes, as well as other ridiculous antiques.
I mean, usually you're the one that makes the money, so.
Yeah, usually I'm the one who makes the money. Don't worry, we'll have money again. I'll get a job soon. One that I want to do.
How many interviews do you have scheduled? Like 5? You're like, I wish.
No.
Oh, did you check? Oh, this wasn't the game that you needed to check on.
Check what? No, there's nothing wrong with this game. This game's perfect.
Well, at least you know exactly what it should look like based on this game. What it, you know.
Actually, this game is not working perfectly.
Oh, what's wrong? Is one of the lights out on special?
Yes,
the special hole?
Yeah.
I noticed that earlier.
No, that one there, the 500 one.
Oh, that
special
one?
hole.
The one over here.
Oh, no, that doesn't have a light. No.
No. I meant there's 3. Is there a time when none of them are lit?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's a time when
I was just
you'll
worried.
see it's going to cycle through them right now. It should cycle through them. So there is a light under there, but it only comes on in attract mode. See it?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come on any other time in the game. No, the only
Do you have another
problem,
ball? Nope.
No, I'm done. The only problem with this game is that this 500 point light is not lighting up.
Has the one over here been lighting up?
Yeah. Well, right now in attract mode, you'll see it lights up and then it goes out.
I like how this isn't as bright as Rack 'em Up.
Well, Rack 'em Up's got so many more bulbs in it. All right, let's play 2-player. There's one. There we go. And then we're gonna call it a night, everybody, because it's 2 o'clock. I've been streaming for about 3 hours. So where's my stream timer? Yeah, I've been streaming for 2 hours and 51 minutes. And I'm gonna need a bathroom soon.
Because you've been hydrating.
Because I've been hydrating, yes.
It reminded you, and then you drank a soda I saw instead.
You know,
I don't know. I was trying to do other things upstairs, so I only kind of sort of was paying attention to your stream.
Alright, here we go. $2,020 points.
Yeah, you got the ball stuck.
Doesn't even. Oh.
No, it hadn't even gone down.
Night music. It was great seeing you again. We'll see you whenever.
Here almost every day.
Yeah. Try
Your
to be
turn
here
already. Oh.
Good. Maybe I can catch up.
I'll have a really good third ball. How about that?
You will, because you get double points on your third ball too.
Yes.
I had some good games tonight.
Yeah, I saw you had a couple good games. You had a really good game on Rack 'em Up last night, though.
Oh, I had a really good game on Rack 'em Up last night, yeah. Which that game is brutal sometimes, so it's...
Yes.
When you have a good game, it's like, wow, I must be getting better.
Oh, kidding me? Oh, there it goes.
Yeah,
I thought about it.
That back plastic is just warped a little bit on the edges from the old lights.
No, I should have just left it.
I know. I was saying that earlier in the stream that
Man,
bounce.
I haven't played in a while, huh?
That bounce post. Well, you're doing better than me. That bounce post there.
It tricks you.
Yeah, because you get this false sense of security. You think, oh, it's not going to drain, and then it just misses it. And not only that, the rubbers in this are so still crisp.
Well, yeah, because we moved it down here shortly after you replaced them, didn't we?
Yeah.
And when our friends come over, it's not their number one game.
Oh yeah, everybody wants to play Addams Family and Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Megan won.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh my, because my extra ball bonus on the end.
Lame.
Oh well, you gonna do another?
I am.
Want to do it by yourself?
Sure.
Or you doing 2-player? I think you might have hit it twice.
No, I didn't. No, I did.
You did. All right, we'll do another 2-player.
And then yes, I have to. I was doing chores upstairs while she was having fun.
Fun? I was working.
You're working.
Working.
You okay? Oops. Well, it's gonna be a short game.
I think it's nice when she comes down in here and plays with us. You know. But I am starting to look at my statistics to see when people are on. That's why I started a little earlier tonight. Because my statistics showed that after a certain point, people start dropping off. Someone did dump 5 viewers in with us as a raid, though, which was very nice.
I saw that.
It's very nice.
You're gonna have to go into yours and
raid. Yeah, drop it back to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you already have a list, but
I do, but I could modify it.
yeah, because I think you can add as many as you want.
Yeah, I can.
And it will just dump to whoever's on.
Yeah, that was really nice. I've never seen them before. This was their first time in the room, so I thought that was real nice of them. Didn't really know what raiding was up until a few days ago when I was reading about it. Didn't know it was the thing. But it's a nice way to keep a channel. You find the people that are gonna stream, and you know, you pass the people with the like interests along. I think that's really a nice way of doing it.
I'm just glad you picked this instead of GTA.
Tons of people are doing GTA and
Fortnite
and all those. It's really easy to stream things like that. Video games are really easy to stream. You can take a quick break and a pause and things. And the other thing is people can give you advice in those games, right? I mean, I really can't take advice playing pinball. You know, it's so delayed. I mean, I could hold it on the flipper or hold it in the lane and wait for people to say, which mode should I pick next? That's really about the only advice you can take, right? I think poker will be fun too.
Yeah, I'm not as enthused about that, but I think it would do well.
I think it would do
There's
well.
nothing in the rules about it?
No, actually there is a gambling category on Twitch that I saw, so I don't think it's against their terms of service or anything. But you know, I think that would be
You're
interesting.
gonna whoop my butt again. I mean, that's a really horrible score for this game. But that'd be funny if I. No, I'm not gonna win.
Oh.
Yes!
Just barely. All right.
I know.
Megan
Okay.
won the last one.
Now
Guys,
we're going to
thanks so much for tuning in. It's great having you all be part of the community, and I'll be probably back on tomorrow night. I think we're going to an auction.
Sorry.
You want to come in the shot? There's
Yeah,
plenty of room in the
it was
shot.
over
Come
this
on. We're probably going to an auction tomorrow night, but I'm usually back here by the time I would start at 11. So if I'm not
Well,
here,
it depends on how much you talk with the boys.
depends how much I talk with the boys. But I'll start sometime tomorrow between 11 and 12, and I'll stream for another 3 hours tomorrow. Again, thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't hit that lovely heart up above me, please do, because I really want to get 50 viewers, 50 followers. So thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time.